Welcome everyone to episode 13 of Unspoken podcast. I am your host, Anapaz. First of all, I just want to thank everyone who has listened to Unspoken podcast this year. Today, or when this is released, it will make 1 year of creating the foundations for a space that is not yet physical, but maybe one day. But the foundations for a space that we can learn together, where we can remember, reclaim and recenter the culture, the stories that have been lost, forgotten, and even stolen. Those of us who make up the global majority, the global south, the African continent, the African diaspora. I always speak from my center, my position as a black woman, but I do hope that it speaks to anyone and everyone who is interested in engaging with a perspective that is not usually in the center and usually unspoken. This episode is the last episode of the calendar year. I thought I would introduce a book that was really important in my growth this year and something that is continuously actually helping me and in understanding myself. But I think first it would be nice actually to just recap the episodes that we have had this year. I really like when things go full circle, and I do believe everything is connected and informing one another. So the last episode we had an interview with Helena Moraes following her journey as an advocate for baby loss. Episode 11 was an interview with Aristoteles Kandimba, the author of the Book of Names from Angola. Episode 10 was the last part of the Coming to Voice series, which was my 6-part series talking about my research on capoeira, and that one was titled Black Women Embody a History. Episode 9, Coming to Voice through Capoeira, Point of Orientation, a Phenomenology of Whiteness, which was actually the most downloaded episode. Episode 8, Sinners, which was a review and reflection of the movie that came out this year. Episode 7, Coming to Voice through Capoeira, Candomblé and Yoruba Orisha Traditions. Episode 6, Coming to Voice through Capoeira, the Mali Rebellion and the Spirit of Mandinga. Episode 5, Bantu People, Bantu Influence of Language, Culture and Capoeira Angola. We focused here on the Book of Names from Angola by Aristoteles Kandimba. Episode 4 was Coming to Voice through Capoeira, Kalunga, Bantu Congo, Principles of Life and Living. Episode 3, Coming to Voice through Capoeira, Awakened Memory of Nature, Ngolo. Episode 2 was The Impact of Imperialism, Knowledge Begins from Where You Are, inspired by the late elder who passed this year, Ngugi wa Thiong'o. And episode 1 was an introduction, stories and oral traditions. And today we'll be exploring healing trauma through family constellations and somatic experiencing. Ancestral Wisdom from the Snail Clan of Tanzania, written by Efu Nyaki. And just to speak a little bit about the writer, she is a healer, born and raised in Tanzania, focused on trauma healing. She currently lives in Brazil, where she is a co-founder of a holistic healing center for women in João Pessoa. Her practice stems also from a German psychotherapist, Bert Hellinger, who developed this therapy called family constellation. After working actually as a missionary and observing the Zulu people in South Africa for 17 years, he then created this family constellations, where he was actually inspired by the cultural customs and rituals, particularly their reverence for ancestors. So this is the foundation of this particular therapeutic method, which I think is super relevant, especially to us of the diaspora. Somatic experience is mostly about feeling the body, somatic really meaning body. And Efu, in her practice, she uses somatic experiencing to engage with trapped trauma in our bodies and the energetic charge from a specific moment or an event that becomes sort of stuck in us, either physically, emotionally, or spiritually. So when Efu uniquely combines this somatic experiencing and this family constellation method, as well as her foundation of being initiated as a healer by her grandfather through her specific ancestral clan, Efu says that combining the wisdom of our bodies together with the strength of our ancestry allows us to unlock and heal old wounds. I found this really helpful for me this year, and I think when we think about the diaspora or people that have been severed from their understanding of their ancestry and their place inside a family constellation. So you can imagine for those of us who are not raised with our immediate families, on top of being people that are constantly trying to assimilate in whatever society that you live in, and you cannot fully be who you are either because you don't know or the way that you have been transmitted aspects of who you are has been portrayed in a negative way, so a part of you is displaced. And I think a combination of lived experiences, not only in our lifetime, cause trauma, a block inside our bodies, as well as this displacement thing. So then it makes it extremely difficult. It's not impossible, but it's difficult for us to move accordingly in the abundance of who and what we are. And trust me, it doesn't matter if you think you know who you are. Believe me, I've been there. I thought I knew who I was. And I'm being surprised every year about the things that I am actually holding in my body. And if we are not engaging with our bodies, with the entirety of what it holds, good and bad, our ancestry, we are limiting ourselves to the potential we have not only for our lives, but for others too. I think we are then using too much energy to contain aspects of ourselves, to suppress things. But of course, we do that as a survival thing. But when you do that for a prolonged period of time, that energy could be used in a more useful way to bring the kind of transformations that we're really desiring in our lives, in the kind of futures we want to create. So just to go through a little bit about what the book describes as trauma and somatic experience and family constellations. And I know I usually talk about history here and untold stories, but actually I think this is a key component in us understanding these historical points of view or perspectives. If knowledge begins from where we are, then it really does begin from where we are, from the body that is carrying us and experiencing life in a very particular way for a very particular reason. Efu describes trauma not as an event itself, but the flight, fright, or freeze response that becomes stuck over time in your body, in your nervous system, when a traumatic event occurs. And of course, this is triggered because of our innate survival instincts. And so just to quote Efu on page 21, post-traumatic stress symptoms and syndromes may be a result of chronic activation of the autonomic nervous system trying to complete an incomplete defensive response to a threat after a person becomes stuck in the natural reaction of fight, flight, or freeze. So somatic experiencing brings awareness to that repetitive pattern of behavior that provokes the symptoms of activation, and it helps restore the natural regulation, self-regulation of the autonomic nervous system. So helping someone to feel the physical sensations, as Efu continues on here, is based on the idea that actually the body knows exactly what is needed for healing to occur. The energy that has become stuck prevents that. So the somatic experience approach is based on this idea that it builds on the body's resources to restore the natural regulation of the nervous system and give a sense of well-being. So the essence of somatic experiences is to help someone develop that ability to feel something in your body. It's very interesting that both these methods, in a way, have been inspired by observing both animals in the wild. So somatic experience, the founder of somatic experience, Peter Levine, created somatic experience by observing animals in the wild. And then family constellations was also something that was about observing humans in their indigenous customs and ways of living. And what does that say then about the real solutions to problems that we are facing as a society? For me, it makes me realize that nothing really needs to be invented, but rather integrated. That we need to look back to look forward. We need to understand that the answers are already in front of us or inside of us. And we only need to listen, place them, name them, give them voice. This year, I also realized that all my life, and I'm still, of course, on a journey, but I've been using movement as a way to regulate overwhelming feelings in my body that have become stuck through very traumatic events that happened in my childhood. So I used football, I used dance, I used performance, and even capoeira. And I think all of us do that to some degree. We use somatic or bodily practices to regulate our nervous system. Smoking, cooking, working, doing laborious stuff is just a way to move your body. It's a way to help us. And then especially as children, playing is a way to help us, to be able to be present in the moment that we're in and to regulate ourselves with overwhelming situations that we don't know how to resolve. But when you're an adult, it's not so helpful because you realize what you have been practicing has been more about containing rather than feeling. And the key thing that has shifted for me in the last couple of years, especially in the last year of doing Capoeira Angola, was this aspect of witnessing the bodily sensations, whether good or bad, to feel where they are coming from and to allow that comfort or discomfort to inform me in some way, to teach me something, to tell me something that I needed to know, something that is present in me and requires a resolution. Now I would love to end the episode just by doing a short exercise together that maybe could help you if you're experiencing low mood or depression, something stuck, some kind of energy that is stuck in the body. So this exercise is called Recalling the Womb, and it's on page 97 of Efu's book. Every morning when you wake up, try to get out of bed as soon as your eyes open. Do some movements like stretching, dancing. If possible, go outside and get in touch with some element of the natural world. After 15 minutes or so of body movement, sit on a comfortable chair with your back supported and your feet well grounded. Feel your bodily sensations. You might feel some comfortable sensations and some uncomfortable sensations. The idea here is to take just a few more seconds to explore them, feel them. The physical sensations that we feel in our bodies are always changing. So as we notice and acknowledge these, soon they will change, whether you find them comfortable or not. Take time to orient yourself in the space where you are sitting. Allow your neck to turn slowly, noticing all that is around you. Choose something that captures your attention. Look at it and notice your bodily sensations. If they are comfortable, wonderful. Take all the time that you need to enjoy them. If they are uncomfortable, then choose to keep moving your eyes around until you find something that makes you feel comfortable. Take all the time that you need to experience and enjoy the comfortable sensations in your body. Then, recall your mother's womb, the place where you were formed. Your mind might wonder about what she did and did not do for you. Let go of such thinking and go back to your bodily sensations. Feel the floor or the ground that supports your feet. Then go back to imagining yourself in the warm, soft uterus of your mother. Feel in your own body the warmth, the softness, the containment that her womb provided for you. If you cannot feel it, then imagine it. Notice what happens with your bodily sensations. If they are comfortable, enjoy them. If not, recall a place or an activity that brings comfort to you. Dwell a bit with these images and then see what happens to your bodily sensations. When they feel good, take time to enjoy the goodness and then finish the exercise. If the sensations are overwhelming, stand up and move around while looking at everything in your surroundings. Choose to stay with what is pleasing to your eyes. Keep moving around while noticing your bodily sensations. When you find just a little bit of goodness in your body, enjoy it and finish the exercise. Feeling the goodness and well-being in your body and in your whole being. Then do some more body movement and stop when you feel that it is good enough for this moment. So that was an exercise by Efu Nyaki, and this book, Healing Trauma Through Family Constellations and Somatic Experiencing, I think it's a very useful resource, I would say. I want to thank everyone for tuning in today to this last episode. I wanted to do something that was a bit grounding, since we are heading to the end of the calendar year, and I don't speak from any position of knowing or being an expert of any sort. I only like to share my experience, my journey, and hope that I can hold up a mirror for others who are also going through similar things or can find some kind of useful approach to something else that they're experiencing or doing in life. Thank you to absolutely every single one of you that has tuned in to this episode, but also throughout the year. And if you want to support, check out the link in the bio and the description of this podcast. If you want to donate to this space and you want to contribute and help cultivate and grow what we are doing here. I give thanks to all of you for listening, and I will see you on the next one.